prayer. Village, I'll open some prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to serve such an amazing school district, Lord. We thank you for our administrators and our staff, Lord, that bless these kids every day. Lord, we just pray that we can guide them through your path and you walk along our side to help us improve every day. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
I guess we'll start off. We're going to recognize the.
Okay, great, yeah. Recognize our kids.
We're in the heat today? Somewhat. Somewhat? I've already been with children.
We on vacation this year, summer, yeah?
I had 3 days. I went to work on Rachel's house.
That's vacation.
That's on vacation.
The freaking painting drywall, but you know.
We're doing all the electrical right now.
Oh, scary.
Initial framing.
It's too hot outside.
Spray on
That's metal.
the roof. It's a steel, the outside frame with all wooden inside. We're not gonna have the.
Yeah.
It's
Structure must live. Place them with my story. Story. It's a moment to that insulation and put another wall behind it. So.
Well, guys, congratulations.
Thank you.
Take a picture.
Did not remember that. So they're going to represent the state of Texas, Indianapolis. Hopefully after. So that we should know in the next 2 weeks. Yes. Yeah, so they're judging paper. They get our paper shit, don't tell us that we were updating votes on it.
One, just wait, 3.
Like Stephen, they want to rent that 137. They love to cook for one year.
Need to remember to. Jamie normally takes that picture. Remember to send that.
So Cody's not, the other Cody's not.
I went by there while ago. That's something he's repeated.
That's so crazy. It's so weird. Like, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's good if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I'm good with it. Good.
It is what it is.
You guys been doing this for 20 years, something like that?
What's up?
I said, you've been doing this, what, 20 years, 30, 40, 50?
Mo and I were at a pre-op thing for her knee replacement today in Lubbock. And I told her on the way home, I said, most of the time I'm the oldest person in the room, but today I was not. I think she and I were the youngest people.
Okay, I think if all y'all check the agenda, y'all know Daryl wanted to talk to us about possible land sale.
Yeah. Everybody knows me, I'm Daryl. And thank you for letting me come and talk to you guys, about, what I think could be a really good possibility for the school. I have some land right across from Stephanie Allen's house. There's 35 acres that, we used to make feed at, sell as, custom feed to
growers or just anybody that wanted it. And, I'm out of that business now, I'm in the crude hauling business, and, and in that time, Bodie's graduating. I'm like, well, that's okay, yeah. I was kind of thinking maybe he'd get a scholarship, but, and he did get some of that. But then I've got this other one that's a junior, and I got to think, well, maybe it'd be best if I'd sold some things. And I put it out there a little bit that I'd like to sell it, but I don't really just want to sell it to anybody. I would like to sell it to somebody that could do something and make it a good uplifting thing for the community. And I'm not gonna tell you what to do with it, but if you were interested in it, I was thinking about the times that you have had people come in here to talk to you about energy, like for wind and solar. Windmills they're kind of ugly. So maybe that wouldn't be a possibility, but I did think part of this land has a drainage tank that Nick Williams built over time. Well, now it has been grown up with mesquites. And I got thinking, well, that could be utilized as a solar farm, partially. And what would that look like? Maybe as a benefit to the school. I got to thinking, Mr. Impinger he's really top notch. With these people that come into the school to try to do solar farms, maybe they put you a solar farm in this little corner. It could offset your electric bill. I don't know exactly how much you spend on your electric bill. No, mine's like $350 just for a house, so I can only imagine what the school is. It's probably pretty steep. But that could be a net benefit to y'all over time, where if you did develop it. Other thing I thought about, well, if you're still in the building houses mode, that could be carved up and made into little ranchettes, where if somebody wanted to have a horse and a goat and a sheep and a pig, they could raise it right there in the backyard instead of being, so you could have kind of a situation where you have home and country life right here as an employee of the school. And then my mind just went, wow, if I had maybe resources, I could do a million things, but anyway, I'll just leave it at that, because I don't want to prejudge what you want to do. But I would like, if I did sell it, that somebody could do something with it, because as you come in the corner of town, there's quite a bit of frontage around that radius that I've got. It could be a braggadocious spot for all the cool things that the school's done. It could be a boon, it could be something neat. But then if you're really energetic, I've got a little lot in town that I bought, and I haven't done anything with it. I kind of, when I was in the entrepreneurial mode, I thought I'm going to take over the world right here in Jake, Texas. I'm going to have 7 businesses, and I haven't done anything with it. And that also could be a brag spot for Jake as you're passing through. I mean, shoot, you could have a place where you honored like these guys. I mean, all the FFA accomplishments. You could, as people drive there, I didn't know Jake had, robotics club that won state, above and beyond all the other things that we've done. But anyway, I'd sell that too. But anyway, I would like to have 3,200 an acre for it. There's 35 acres there. I don't know what that comes out to. And the only reason I brought that up was because my banker in Spur, I was telling him about refinancing it or keeping it. And he did mention to me that in Spur, next to the stadium, that they had sold I believe a 60-acre parcel for exactly 3,200 recently, maybe a few years. I wasn't thinking that it might be worth that much, but it might be.
He's got electricity and water.
So on, and I'm glad you brought that up, on Jim Guest Road, where Danny Benavides used to live, there's sewer and there is a pole there, but apparently the agreement that co-op had with just free market electricity is that they agreed that probably shouldn't be put back there for some reason. So they'd have to come in from the southwest corner if you wanted co-op energy. Now, one thing you'll notice when you go out of town, at the very south end of town where those Nick Williams water tanks are, there is a new pole that I had put in, and that's 3-phase. And that's not South Douglas. That is just regular free market electricity. So you do have that there, and with the way the solar, what limited I know about it is, you know, if you have demand, you can replace it with solar pretty easy. Now, the excess to sell it back to the grid, I don't know. I mean, they have solar projects all over that people just come and buy it. I don't know if you might get some political blowback from, you got a solar farm right in the middle of Jayden, you know, it might look ugly if you put the whole thing, but there's a certain quadrant there that I think you might get away with it. And if you penciled it, they gave you free solar panels and a step up inverter or whatever it is, you might can eliminate your electric bill. And, you know, they tell me residentially, I think 7 years is but that's you as a resident, you know, paying for all that stuff, but maybe if you negotiated a deal where we've got some land we'd like you to develop, put some panels in.
Was that a well or is it on city water?
It is not, no, just as city.
City water.
And, we talked about putting a well there, but there might be, I know the best well is right, north of there, but yeah, I wouldn't bank on any. Figure out where, maybe you know, you've got the water witching skills, maybe you can find that stream. Nelson and I talked about it, maybe we could, if we ever find some downtime, we can go there and witch it.
That's my moonlighting job.
Yeah. Anyway, I was thinking, you know, I would like to sell in the next 6 months to a year, so I'm not in any hurry, but I would, just like to put it out there that if it's something you guys would be interested in, that I appreciate you considering it.
Is that property, hug the highway of coming? Where that sign is that has the phone numbers?
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, just south.
Right at the intersection.
Mhm. Yeah, I've had a few cars fly through that.
Yeah, right.
Once a year, you get somebody.
I was trying to figure out how to run critters in there and keep.
There's new tar tracks.
Well, if you put your subdivision in there, you could just drive right through there, I guess.
And the lot in town is where?
Right across from the coffee shop, the old Jaybirds Nest. There's a 8-foot kind of privacy fence I started there. I was gonna enclose the whole thing, but I didn't.
What
What was the
Brenda's
twins
old-
cottage?
Yeah, Brenda.
Oh, well, yeah, that's just, yeah, close to y'all's. And, this county owns the building to the south of me and then Sleepy's Barber Shop. That could be bought and cleaned up, but I will say that honestly, I really appreciate what y'all have done about beautifying the community. Lastly, my, cousin's on the school board in, Sundown. And he said one of the things that they got involved in is instead of building separate communities, you know, within the school district, they would buy homes that came up for sale or that were vacant, and they'd pour money into those and get teachers into those homes. And I was thinking, that's a really pretty neat idea where you get everybody's surrounding property value up. So if the neighbors did want to sell, then don't have to look for an eyesore. So what you got going on down here, that's really cool to get that cleaned up. And, you know, maybe same thing with that there. Maybe it could be a real focal point for something extra, but, thank you for all you've done. I know it's a sacrifice you do, and you're not getting paid. I had one of those jobs that got paid. I was like, that's for sure.
Yeah, Brandon used to own a piece of property right there on that curve.
Sir,
Brandon,
Brandon,
it's on Yes Street. It's on Yes, okay. Yeah, right next to where you had your feed mixing.
see Brandon,
He went to Amarillo, I forgot what his name was.
well, now there is a little corner
It's
between
fenced up.
you and I. Yeah, that is just
No, it's
direct.
South of your feed mixing.
So, where Danny's is, I own that in a different LLC. And then I own 24 or 29 acres in my name, my wife's name. Then I own another 5 acres in my name. So I just for simplicity's sake, it's just a glob. And then between Stephanie and I, there is one little strip. It's right on Jim Guest Road. That's, so this side of, I can't think of her name, Jamie Nino's mom, Brenda, yeah. Yes, she's,
Brandon Hurley bought 2 acres here.
oh,
This
so
side.
she's on the east side. So
He's south of it.
okay.
We fenced that, so we up to her.
Uh,
If it's sold, I've never heard about it, but
Yeah,
Probably bring people straight through. Yeah,
that's mine.
you both,
Yeah, that is and when the Williams had that, put it on the market, to purchase, they had it surveyed to individual lots. And then, I guess he was thinking that he would sell, and I think he did sell off one. But I was too late because I wanted all of it, and then I wound up buying that from, you're saying, Brandon who is cowboy, yeah.
yeah, Ernie worked for the county.
Yeah, I heard it, yeah, I bought that from him.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got all that, yes?
Yes, sir.
Anybody else got any questions? All right, we'll kick it around. Appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, thank you all.
Thanks, sir.
Appreciate it.
Girl.
Yeah, don't take care.
Appreciate it.
Best Thank, let's give us water, if you don't mind. Y'all take care.
Thanks, sir. More public comments. Feedback portal responses, no feedback portal stuff. Mission. Principal report, Mr. Humphries.
Mr. Humphries is not here, but his report is on the screen. And 181 students for as right now, unless somebody quits, we're fully staffed, both in professional positions and non-professional. You were aware that the state FFA folks went to Fort Worth, and you through the email traffic, you saw where we lost a Suburban in that process. Congratulations to Ben and Kirby. That's a big deal. Class A through 6A, all comers. It's a big deal. And then I wasn't aware of this until I saw Jamie's report. Remy, Bodie, Colt, and Sean all received their Lone Star degrees, which Shane tells me is the highest award that the FFA offers at the state level. And then Shane and Carrie both received the honorary Lone Star degrees, and they were telling me before the meeting started that goes to adults that somehow or another serve FFA. But it's not just because we like the way you dress and stuff. I mean, it's determined by some specific metrics, the number of kids that you've gotten with Lone Star degrees over time and other things. So that's a big deal too. This says in service begins August 10th. Really, August 11th is the first day for our whole JGISD team to be back on duty. And then first day of school is the 13th. And that is all of Jamie's report. You know what? We skipped the public hearing on the academic thing. Can we do that?
Yeah.
Let's do that right now.
You can go back out.
No, we're fine. On the screen behind you, I asked Jamie, I knew he was working on this. These are the results of our STAR and end of course exams. But I asked him if he would manipulate it and put it in something that didn't look like spreadsheets and numbers. Mm-hmm. And so here's kind of a running summary of our performance. Put that way. These columns on each of these slides are the same. The column on the left is the statewide performance. The one in the middle is Region 17, and the one on the right is Jake and Girard. So on each of these, you can take a quick view and see how we compare to the region and the state. The blue is the kids that are approach and above, which means they're performing average or better. The red are the ones that are doing very well, exactly as we would like for them to. And then the masters are the ones that are knocking it over the fence. So third grade English language arts, fourth grade reading language arts, again, we would do very well compared to the state and the region. And then fifth grade reading and language arts. I'll stop if any of these you want me to. Sixth grade reading and language arts. These data, we'll be viewing these data, by the way, with teachers and staff when we come back on August the 11th. Seventh grade reading and language arts. Eighth grade reading and language arts. English 1, ninth graders, or mostly ninth graders. English 2. And just a note, sometimes you'll see interesting trends in these data. You notice how few masters there were across the state and the region, which tells you something about
The test
the difficulty of the
Yeah.
test. Exactly.
might be a really hard test for anybody.
Yeah. Anybody and everybody. So our overall reading, language arts, English language arts, we stack up well. The state's report card hasn't come out yet. We, based on the numbers we've cranked, we think we'll be get an A again. We expect that. Okay, now math scores, third grade. Fourth grade. Fifth grade. Sixth grade. Seventh grade math. Eighth grade math. Ninth grade algebra 1. And then overall mathematics. So again, when you look at it in composite, it looks pretty good, although there were a couple of soft spots in that. Science, fifth grade. Science, eighth grade. Biology. I don't know if y'all have looked at a biology book lately. I think it's not 92 pounds now. The next version, they're going to put wheels on it like a roller suitcase. The knowledge keeps growing in the sciences. Overall, science scores. Now we move to social studies. U.S. history. Overall history. And then Jamie asked me to share with you his summary thoughts on this. Areas that we're doing really well. High school end of course performance. In algebra, biology, English 2, U.S. history. Doing very well in middle school reading. Doing very well in middle school math. Areas we didn't do so well. Elementary reading exceeds the state and region, but we believe that we'd like to do better on that. Elementary mathematics is generally above state and region, particularly grades 4 and 5. Science performance is above comparison groups with the opportunity to increase. Areas that need focus, third grade math. Increased master's level achievement across multiple tested subjects, and eighth grade social studies. Had a large number of kids that approached. And we'd like to move that to meets and masters. Just a comment from my perspective. we learned, this school year, several years ago, the state embarked on reading academies, and that becoming a requirement for every elementary teacher to go through a pretty strident training on reading academies, noble and worthy intention. It was done. We learned this last school year that the state is now embarking on the same kind of process for mathematics. And so we already knew that they didn't ask my opinion before they did it, but we already knew that they were going to require us to basically split kids in math ability grouping, which I'm opposed to in general. But that's the hand we've been dealt. So as our kids now begin matriculating through the process, each class of kids are going to be kind of in two different groups: upper level math, lower level math, which will be a challenge. It'll be a challenge for all school districts to find certified math teachers. I think the last data I saw is about 30% of the math teachers in Houston were not certified to teach math. So I don't know where they're going to find them, but good thing that TEA took over Houston and Fort Worth and several others. But it's noble and worthy stuff. One of the actions that we're taking, and you all saw the master schedule that, or my comments about the master schedule, we're this coming year, we're double blocking math at 3rd grade, double blocking math at 4th grade, and double blocking math at 5th grade in order to see if we can bolster that performance as those kids move through the process. That's our public hearing.
Good info.
Thanks for backing up.
Next is your show.
Yeah, if I would like to, if you're looking at your agenda, first, the last time we met, Cody Scott was not able to be here and share his learnings from the Texas Rural Education Association. So if you got something you want to share, you're welcome to fire away, sir.
I don't know about y'all. I was in a couple of classes with a few of you, but I like the counselor overload. I don't know if anybody else went to that class. So it's a program that these women have started to where they take students who are going, say, taking dual credit, whatever. They start when they're like 8th grade or freshman, and they assign them a mentor. Like, this is the actual person going to this college that tells them this is what, if you want to go be a doctor, this is what you do. You don't need to take art or something like that. You know, they help them build their degree plan. And I'm sure there's some fees associated with it, but it seemed like a pretty neat program where they get someone's pretty close to their age. And of course, the big question was like, okay, are these people vetted? Like, they're like, yes, they are very, I mean, they're top performers. They're not inappropriate or anything like that. But it was pretty interesting. It's just a senior checklist, some career craft fun tracking. They do all kinds of stuff, college readiness stats. They'd actually started in 7th grade if they want to in career readiness. So they just kind of, because I didn't know what I wanted to do when I graduated, so I'll join the Navy. You know, what do you want to do? My dad was a rancher, and I don't want to ranch. I don't want to farm, and I don't want to work in the oil field because I've lived around that for 20 years, and that's not what I wanted to do. And then I wound up doing it anyway, so I should have just stuck with it. But it was pretty interesting how those counts. I think Cody might have been in there. And then I went to another one that was the title was School Cash Flow. So I don't know how they're doing it, but they're taking school money and investing the funds. It's some kind of firm. Were you in there?
I wasn't in there. No.
But they're
But you
taking
told me
school
about
funds and investing it instead of letting it sit there like over summer, and they know when their bills are due and they're making money on it to pay their bills. I've got their cards somewhere in their paperwork. It's probably in my computer bag, but I was like, we talked about that.
Mhm.
Yeah, he said it's totally legal. It's not because I was like, we were told it wasn't legal. He said, no, it's legal. We do it for schools all over, but they take your funds and invest it. Of course, they get their small fee, but they guarantee you're gonna make money, which usually 10% return on the market, and if you get 5, that's better than 0. But you know, remember we met those people from Rankin? Was
Yeah.
that when Sheets was here?
Lincoln.
Yeah, it was
I think
like,
so.
and everybody's like, you know, kind of like, I don't think that's legal. There's a lot of gray area. But they,
Well, it was the it was the superintendent and his wife was the business manager, so it didn't smell great. 'Cause
They
it's
got,
like, "Ah."
they got.
I'm not trying to say that out loud, but it was like,
But.
oh, they
but
did.
But now that's,
Oh.
from what I've talked to people at Rankin, they've made a ton of money in those investments. So I don't, I think they were doing other things other than that.
Postage.
Oh, yeah. But that was just kind of caught me, it caught my interest just because they said, oh yeah, it's totally legal to take money and invest it. And it's not like permanent school fund, it's your fund balance.
Yeah.
They're taking investing, but they know, okay, I can invest it for 6 months and I gotta have that money to pay these bills. It's probably a headache for Lacey, honestly, but I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
the other one that really stuck out to me was, it's called School to Scrubs. It's a program started at Texas A&M. Haskell is involved in it. Sweetwater is involved in it. And it starts getting kids involved in the medical field. Yeah, Haskell and Sweetwater, I wrote it down here. But starts getting kids involved in the medical field at like a freshman. And they're doing things to where and there was actually a board member in there who was a doctor in like White Deer somewhere. And he's like, you know, nobody wants to move to a rural town and be a doctor or a nurse or anything. So this is more of a doctor route. And what they're trying to do is get rural kids to go through this program, and they're pushing it real big to get kids to come back home and be doctors, you know, work in a nursing home or EMS or whatever, just to be the town doctor. I mean, you remember in the old days, you remember we see old Andy Griffith and the doctor walks in with his bag, sets it down, goes to work, and we just don't have that anymore. So that was real interesting. There's a lot of scholarships. A&M does a lot of funding. The program, that would be something neat to get involved, because I think I would have never thought of being a doctor. But if something like this had popped in my lap and I took a couple of classes, I'm like, man, this stuff's pretty easy. I might have gone a different route, but just having that, and it really excited me because Haskell and Sweetwater are doing it. And you know, people in Haskell, so that'd be an easy route to say, how does it work? Maybe get somebody to come talk to us about it sometime.
I know a
don't know
man
if y'all
from
would-
Texas A&M that runs point for the whole state on that project.
See, we're even there. That was really the one. I went to Copper's Cove about the CTE program, but I was sitting there listening, going, man, this is amazing. And they told me they're a 6-day school.
Yeah.
They can have their own EMS. They bought an old nursing home and have their own EMS facility that they train their kids in. I was like, that was wild. But then they said they're 6A. I didn't know it was that big. I was like,
Why are y'all here?
yeah, we're probably not. We'll probably can't buy it. We could partner with it. I think we do. Kind of some of the kids work at the nursing home, but they've got all kinds of.
Kathy, listen to you, talk to all the kids
Really.
and try to push them that way. So come see if you like the medical field. That's a good place to start. Get your feet wet, see if you like it.
So we might bring.
We've had
kids
several
in.
going-away nurses. Cold Ship just graduated nursing school.
Mhm.
So you can
Kayla
compare
took
work.
the kids to Snyder to shadow OTs, PTs, speech therapists, and
We lost a board member to nursing
a
school.
lot on fire about that.
But, just, I really like that medical program and stuff like that, and the investing, if it's really works. But,
Thank you. Thanks for sharing. You all saw, you probably forgot, when I announced early in the summer. Well, back in May, the instructional team were expected to get 3 days of comp time during the summer, and I have a very open mind with what is not negotiable is that you're gonna learn to be better. And so, each of those, and some of you all saw the invitation if you wanted to join me and Jamie in the book study on Trust and Inspire by young Stephen Covey. I'm about halfway through that one right now. But when we come back on August the 11th and 12th, the teachers, I sent to them 3 PowerPoint slides, generic, that they will fill in. And I learned this, these are the learning activities I did on day one. These are the ones on day two, and these are day three. And I'll put all that together in one, and we'll spend time as a team looking, talking, listening to what each other learn. I try to keep an open mind and give them a kind of open field, because what interests one doesn't always interest another. And for instance, when the data we looked at a few minutes ago, some of them were definitely reflecting over the summer and thinking, okay, that data doesn't look like I want it to. How am I going to get better? Another good thing, I call it cross-pollination as well. Because folks that teach primary kids sometimes don't have a clue what the secondary science teachers are teaching. And sometimes the coaches don't have a clue what's going on in a third grade classroom. And so when you get everybody in that environment and you're sharing with one another, it kind of, I think, strengthens the team when they learn about what those other people are doing and they didn't know they were doing it at all. And what a key piece of the puzzle everyone plays, not just the teachers, but also the support folks. So that'll be part of the learning. I know y'all get more emails from me than you probably want. And if you see my email and you just hit delete, that's okay. I don't know. I'm not tracking that. But you all are welcome. Anytime we gather as a team, you all are welcome to be there. I'll try to remember, and I know you all have jobs and you volunteer your time anyway, but you're more than welcome to join us, and you're more than welcome to participate if you want to, that process. So now I'll move into my kudos. The July 4th extravaganza was a big deal for the 250th anniversary, and two people I know spent a lot of time, effort, and energy on it. It was Stephanie Allen and Joy Miller. And it was fun. It was a fun day. Appreciate the effort they put into it. The whole community seemed to get invested in that, and I was thankful. I didn't know how well it would play because it happened to be on a Saturday. And I was so appreciative. Bailey Chisholm helped me fill up the Duncan booth. At first, my drain plug wasn't tight, so we had to go to Ray's barn and steal something from him. But he was there. He knew we stole it. He helped us find what we needed. But Bailey did double duty, and then putting up that dead gum.
Water slide.
Yeah, the water slide. That was a big thing. China Alderman had the skill. I didn't know he had the skill. He told me he did it in Lubbock professionally several years. He's the one that cleaned up the dead limbs out of our trees around the place. Really, I would assume that he would have ran a lift or used a big ladder, but he uses a block and tackle. I mean, he shimmies up there and hangs while he's cutting that stuff.
The little spurs.
Well, he told me he had some, but I don't
Okay.
think he was using them for that. Lacey and Jamie do what?
Yeah, there's kids in those trees too.
Oh, really?
Doing the nursing home.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't see that. Lacey and Jamie were helpful in going through that interview process for the school office assistant. And just so you all know, what I tell those people that agree to help, whether it's teacher or any other, the ones that agree, and like in that position too, I invite people to join, but I don't demand that they join, because sometimes they sit next to each other in church, and sometimes they're related, and I mean, sometimes there's entanglements that make it uncomfortable. But what I tell those teams when we do that, and it's a very tightly prescribed battery and process, but I inform the teams of people that help me. At the end of the day, I'm the guy that has to make the decision on the hire, and if they don't work out, I'm the person that has to fire them. So it's not a team vote, and I give them a rubric to use with those people. So when they're answering the questions, we all have a rubric. And I'll ask them, the people helping me interview, to fill out the rubric anonymously. I don't want to know who it was. They do the rubric before we ever talk about how the person or people performed. So I have these anonymous feedback forms. And then we talk, and much or little as we want to. Another piece of that process that I try to avoid is people campaigning for someone. And I wanna hear them. I wanna get straight, immediate, first impression feedback, and then we'll talk. And then we flesh out what variables and possibilities exist. Maintenance and housekeeping, when Jamie walks families around that are either moving into the community or thinking about moving into the community, he never gets done with one of those walkabouts that he couldn't tell me how impressed people are at how nice our facilities are and how clean and how well kept they are. I'm thankful for Tony, Justin, and Lauren for the service that they provided to our kids in general, but also to my grandkids specifically. I'm always thankful that my grandkids are touched by people with good hearts. Gina and Connie, when that Suburban died in Fort Worth, that generated a lot of activity and some decision making. But once I got the quote from the Bruce Lowry Chevrolet that it was going to cost almost $11,000 to repair that Suburban, and I negotiated with them to just keep it, and we'd buy one of their vehicles. Gina and Connie agreed to go get it, and so they did on a short notice. I appreciate their help. Believe it or not, Keith does a ton of stuff keeping us up and running technology wise. And then people walk in the door with their broken laptop or their iPad, their brand new iPad that they don't know how to turn on, or they've lost their internet connection or something. And Keith just graciously, serves as the community guru. But that's a good ambassador for our school. Lacey had to ask me what seppuku was. It's ritualistic suicide by the samurai class in Japan. So almost weekly, she keeps me from committing seppuku on one topic or another.
Probably something like that.
Another opportunity for us all to learn something.
Yes, that's exactly.
I started to write Harry Carey, but I can't fly an airplane, so had to use something that was more within my reach. Leela, all through the summer, she works with struggling readers up here every day. And it's just amazing to me that she's willing to come on up and help those little pups and have a little trouble reading. Every time we looked at that testing data earlier, and the kids that don't perform well, particularly on those end of course exams that are required for graduation, they have to retake to try to get it right. And so Stephanie and Hillary come up and help those kids. And we did well this summer. And actually we had some kids get over the hump that have never been over the hump before as a result of that work. So thanks, God. Okay, I'll move into my other parts of my report. This is kind of connected to Cody's comments in relation to the vocational tracks. The Double Mountain Rural Collaborative, we met last week as sort of a partial Zoom. It was the day it rained, actually. And some of us managed to get up here in this room, and some of them were joining us via Zoom. But we're in the process of trying to write a grant. TEA has offered a grant specifically for rural schools that have decided to partner together like we have. And in particular, this grant is the one focused on education and training, which was the pathway that we chose for ourselves to be the point school for. Although there are like 5 or 6 of the schools in our partnership, there are like 5 or 6 pathways right now. And you were mentioning that School to Scrubs thing. We have the phlebotomy pathway already in that group, and we also have the health science technician pathway in that group. As time goes by and as this thing fleshes out, I think we'll keep adding more vocational pathways. And I'm on, I bet you money. I mean, I got a couple of close insiders on the commissioner's court, but they don't tell me anything. But I'd almost bet money that there's a day in the pretty near future that we might be able to create a pathway for students to matriculate directly from high school into working in a data center in some technical way that makes good money. And several of them, I know that they're building a data center outside of Hamlin. Of course, the big one's going on over at Haskell right now. Somebody at Roby, I think the one building in the vicinity of Roby as well. Angela Woolley is now officially adjunct for Western Texas College, which means she's, adjunct professor in Western Texas. And I'm meeting with Dr. Sharp and those other folks involved in this process again Thursday. But Western Texas has been a great partner and a willing partner. Dr. Laurie Sharp, when she moved in last year, immediately got focused on trying to win back the customers in their geographic area that they had lost to South Plains and Cisco and other places. And she's a go-getter. And at my request, all of those vocational pathways have 4 years of coursework. And already year 2, 3, and 4 had dual credit status. But when we agreed to do this and we agreed to pick up that education and training thing, I asked Western Texas if they'd be willing to consider making that year 1 coursework dual credit also. So the kids that are in that pathway, not only are they moving toward the industry credentials, they're also getting college credit on a transcript as they go along too. So if the day comes, they end up pursuing a different vocation than the one they think they might want to do right now, then they've got some college hours under their belt and saves mom and dad a little money down the road. And it makes it less scary to go to college when you get there, which when I came out, well, one of my favorite authors in the field of education is now dead. Dr. Phil Schlechte said, when I was in school, dropouts were not the problem. They were the solution. We're in a different time and place now. You all see the traffic about auctions. I'm just going to keep that thing rolling. If we've got stuff that we've used up or it doesn't look like we're going to use, I want to get it out of the closets, get it up off the yard, move it out, and replace it with something we will use. And so that's just going to keep going. You saw in my Sunday report about the Kawasaki Mule. And so the one that's been broken down all year long, it's now out at the ag farm. I took pictures of it the other day. You'll see it on the auction block, and it'll if some of you are a mechanic, you can get it at a bargain basement price if you make the deadgun thing. Also, we have outside the bus barn over here to the north. I saw about 3 stacks of cinder block, and evidently it was what was left over from the daycare and the auxiliary gym. So it's been there for quite a long time. And so you'll see those go on the auction block pretty soon too. I asked the softball, baseball folks if they had any need for them. I thought maybe they didn't. They'd rather use those and charge us. The more expensive version.
Yeah.
I was about to say,
We'll take a
So anyway, you'll see though, if you need concrete blocks, they're fixing to see some of those. Okay, Cody, that's my report. I'm done.
Next we have a discussion on consider style and formatting state champ display.
Man, have I been dreading this. Okay. So on the screen, when we beat this around last time, let me go to here. This is kind of how we stopped the conversation last time. And so since then, the things that came up to the table during the conversation last time was some ideas about different configurations and stuff that we might that we might pull off without having the extra wings on the side, the extra granite. And so Gregor sent me these options. He said, here are some other configurations. Some of these are 18-foot wall. The two on the top would be 18-foot walls. And the two on the bottom would be, the three on the bottom would be 24-foot walls, which would be more, obviously more expensive. And so what I did is took those and this is what it would look like if we had wings. The original wall plus amended wings. But if we took what Gregor sent me and just applied it to one wall with no wings. So that top one would be 12 medallions, which really wouldn't do us any good because we know we have, what, 16, now we know for sure we have 16 state championship teams and the FFA teams, or that's another conversation we got to have here in a few minutes. So the top wall basically is out. We need more than, unless we were going to add wings. That's the next one there on the bottom, 16 medallions. That would fill our needs if we decide not to honor two-person teams. And so, and then here's the next ones, 21 medallions, which would meet all of our needs at the current moment. That would be on an 18-foot wall. No wings required. The next one down, 2 more medallions, but that wall, it doesn't look like it, but that would be a 24-foot wall. And then we get 24 medallions on a 24-foot wall or 32 medallions on an 18-foot wall. Of course, the size of the medallions shrink when you start trying to push that in there. And then today, Gregor sent me this, and the numbers are pretty tiny. Basically, if we're looking at, for all intents and purposes, if we're looking at an 18-foot wall, we're looking at about $260,000, $270,000. If we're looking at a 24-foot wall, we're looking at about $330,000. And then, as I mentioned to you all the other day, I think these are the decision points that we need to be trying to hone in on, if we can, is the size of the wall and number of medallions, the amount of text that we want to put on those medallions. And of course, if we shrink the size of the little Texas medallions, then the font size shrinks along with it. And then the methodology for the placement, and I'll speak to that in just a minute. I've got I think a plan that makes some kind of sense. And then the background info at number 3, that's what BJ brought to the table, which I thought was a cool idea the other day, is being able, having a touch sensor that would immediately take you to the website to find deeper information about those teams. And then the tricky part of the conversation is, do we count two-person teams like Ben and Kirby as a state championship team, or do we not count two-person teams as a state championship team? Because if we do, then of course that means more medallions.
Well, then you're gonna have to do stuff like Sean won the 800 3 years in a row.
That was my next question, because people are asking me that. Are we doing individual state champions? Just UIL? I'm getting all the questions. They all
Sure,
I'm
sure.
like, I have no idea, but I
Sure.
know we spent the most time talking about
Right.
this at our last meeting. This is our biggest
know.
discussion.
And
Which
I
is
know,
really a blessing, right?
do what?
This is a huge
It's a
blessing
huge blessing.
to have.
And
this
some
our
of
biggest-
you at the last board meeting mentioned attending some sessions at TREA over Lone Star governance, which would not at all be in favor of us spending this much time.
No.
No.
It's something that has nothing to do with instruction, but it is important politically, it's important perception wise, and it's important for our legacy. So,
For the team, like Could we, or the individual, could we do like a smaller medallion just for an individual or two-person?
No, you'd have another idea, something different. We didn't have.
Well,
I mean,
and yeah,
That's great, though. I
I mean,
like it.
you're worried about
I
the
like it.
print being, you're not gonna be able to read the stuff from driving by anyway, because most people drive by there
Right.
60 miles an hour anyway.
Right.
But when people are gonna walk up there and read it and go individual one by one.
you know, and when, in our original conversations about when we decided not to include individual state champions is because of the number and the difficulty of trying to
Yeah.
find them. And one of the things that I have repeatedly, I'll go ahead and say it.
Okay, don't say it.
A big digital display would solve the problem. You know, a big billboard with a rolling,
State champion.
I mean, you could put the teams, you could make the text as big as you want to, you could put all the names, and then
Make
it
it
stays there
touchscreen
for
and-
5 or 6 seconds, and the next one rolls. And then you have, somebody that wins the state champion, Sean wins the state champion in the 800 meters. And you could do that. It would be big, but, a lot of people don't like the idea of the digital display, which, I lose as many debates as I win. So, no, I actually lose more debates than I win because I live with her mother.
That's personal debates.
Right. So,
How do
From
you
the-
decide to honor these and not those?
right, exactly. And an interesting point, and when we first started the conversation a year ago, there were those that argued it shouldn't be anything but athletics, and I took exception to that. And then there were those that argued, well, we have a place for the academic stuff displayed down here below us in the Learning Center. And I thought, and we have a place for the athletic stuff down there in the gym foyer. Yeah. And so it's a good problem to have. I do think we need to work our way through it.
You want another curveball?
Yeah, far away. Yeah.
What if it was just, so say 84, we had football, and I'm not sure if we had any more. It was state champs of 84 and then a QR code or something, you scan it and it brings all the state champs for football, basketball, baseball, track. Everybody's on there and what they did, all the data's there. And then you could just do years, because that would, you know what I'm saying, instead of every team. But
Oh, you do it by
so you do
year.
it by year. So last year when the girls went to semis and the boys won state football and basketball and then FFA and then robotics.
Yeah.
Band went pretty quick. We'd all be on one state memorial 2024.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then all the data is there when I don't know if QR code's probably the easiest thing right now. But who knows what that'll be.
What do you call that,
He's
technology that you were talking about?
It's a proximity sensor.
Replacing QR.
It's a little sensor you can build in, you can put in anything really, or just on the surface and you tap your phone to it. And
Really?
it's like paying, pay at the
Yeah.
register with Apple Pay or whatever. It's
Oh, I
that kind of
forgot you were not
technology.
here last time when we had that conversation.
It's kind of the same technology. It's kind of the next step past the
So would
QR
that
code,
make
really.
more sense by like a year, just put 84 state champions?
And then the years that we had no state champions, we just
Be.
play like then
Well,
nothing
it
happened.
just- Would they be lined up and they'd go year to year? Well, if you don't have no state champions, you're not gonna put them on there anyway.
Interesting.
I don't know how many that would be, though. I mean, there may be, it might be worse. We may have somebody state champ every year over the last 25 years, yeah.
Yeah.
But it just a thought, that would encompass everybody from last year.
Yeah.
And everybody the year before and everybody,
Well, the digital you were talking about, what kind of expense are you looking at there? If we did it?
I have no idea. Keith, you got any kind of idea on that?
One thought on the digital display. If you want it, it's kind of like you got dual screens. You know, you could designate the left side to, you know, team. And the right side, the individuals, or, I mean, you could, with a digital display, you can break it up and do a lot of different things with it. It doesn't have to be just one
Yeah.
thing for 5 seconds. It can be, you know, kind of a,
Short video stuff,
yeah.
so you could make smaller emblems up there and just scan it and go on the digital screen. Or on your phone.
Well, I don't know if you wanna control it with your phone, that might be a whole nother
No,
ballgame,
but
but
not control it, that would be his job.
Be able to pick up on it.
I don't know.
We talked about. And this makes me think of a lot of things, but 40 years from now, how many marble slabs are we gonna have to
I
buy?
know, I
We're
don't know.
gonna have $400 in a marble slab.
Well, and that's why, I mean, at the beginning of this conversation,
It started out simple.
I wanted to make sure we had, whatever we did, we wanted, it could be something amendable. Because like what we currently have, we have a metal thing out by Sherry Kay's house and a metal thing out behind the field house, and then we got a
Big granite.
granite thing in front of the gym. And then, you know, 14, 16, 18,
$10,000 granite.
well, and where do you place them all?
Andy
It's a
said,
good problem to have.
It is.
Andy said Hollywood stars in the sidewalk in the. Just do Texas emblems in the sidewalk.
You can picture my-
And we keep beating a dead horse, but, I'm thinking Larry the Cable Guy, you know, now I've got a horse with a broken leg and a gunshot wound, but. I mean, the granite thing we got has a misspelled name on it, you know,
Mhm.
and the only way to fix that is to drag that thing off and put another one in its
Yeah.
place. And when you start talking about 18,
It's a lot of money.
And- and, by the way, when we get through with this, I'm gonna show you, well, I'll show it to you and displays. Finally, the track and field record board, I think, is ready for us to put up, but. So, decision point. It doesn't sound like we're ready to decide on format or number of medallions. When,
I think you go with the bigger one. That'll last. We won't be on the board by then, so we won't have to worry about that. Hopefully not.
Think about the original intent of this. It was, I mean, partly because we were seeing a hodgepodge of a few teams recognized, not all of them were,
Mhm.
which I don't think encompasses what we are trying to do as a school. We want to recognize all the strengths, all the teams. We also were keeping in mind, you know, the intimidation factor being a legacy. We also keep in mind wanting it to fit what we like for this place to look like, and I think that's why we kind of like the granite. What if, I mean, and we also don't want to diminish individual and partner accomplishments, because those are a big deal. What if the statement piece in front of the school continued to be a focus on teams, and we did more this format than a million different names, and it tracks out to the digital version of the teams. And then and I hate to even say this out loud because it's gonna be a nightmare to dig these things up, but for individual and partner state championships, what if something hung in the gym foyer that looks like the state record board that shows every individual and partnership champion along the way? So that then we are recognizing everyone, but the focus is the teams out front.
So that one you're gonna show us is track only, right?
track and field. Mhm.
So if we did another one like for FFA,
And I'm thinking like Sean would be on there. I'm thinking if we ever had a state CX team win it, that would be on there. I'm thinking if we had a state doubles team, that would be on there. I'm thinking these FFA teams would be on the indoor, maybe in the gym foyer, where you can put those individual names on little. And that's something that's easily editable. And not costing us granite in front of the school.
no adding additional wings.
No additional names. I'm thinking, and if we don't put a million names, I think we might could get away with the 18
I think so
and
too.
smaller Texas medallions that signify the teams that came through and did the thing. And then we go out to the digital version to see the research behind it and the names.
Yeah, because it was 18. How tall is that? 7 foot? Is that what it said? I think it was 7, wasn't
It's 18 foot.
I think
it? Or
it,
18 foot wide.
I think-
Oh, wide.
with the
Oh, okay.
cap part that says educating the champions, I think it was over 8 feet tall.
Okay.
So if we did, that would fit a ton,
Huh?
50 stars, 50 Texas states on the front.
So, and now I'm running with your idea. If we were to do that in the gym. See, that track and field record board is another debate that I lost. Because I wanted to take a screen like that one and turn it up vertically. And make a digital view of that
Mhm.
with bright colors. You know, I'll show you what that track and field thing is gonna look like right now.
When we switched direction on the monument thing,
Mhm.
I informed my guy that we had done that, so we never got to a official quote for a digital thing, so.
Okay.
Could have used 3 of those TVs that we just got rid of.
Right.
Still
have 3 left.
Side 75. Side by side.
So,
There you go.
well,
We're behind. Let's see.
so that thing, Jody texted me yesterday and said it's ready in Lubbock. So I'm gonna send somebody to go get it. But that's gonna hang on the wall just to the left of the concession stand in the gym.
Okay.
But the board, and quarter four could not build the wooden board big enough, because we didn't want this, we wanted this, so it's almost 30 inches wide and almost 4 feet tall. And so it's a pretty big thing, but again, I don't think anybody's gonna beat that record anytime soon. But, I don't know,
That looks good.
there's some. The thing is, if there's a misspelled name,
You can
can fix
change it and it's
you can
easy.
fix it
Yeah.
reasonably close. And y'all probably been in gyms, you know, where you saw, where somebody took a magic marker and marked out Mark Venture's name and wrote somebody.
And who made the wood?
Take over the road.
Who did the wood? Rory? Did Rory do that?
Rory built
So
the
if we're gonna
background.
do something like that, they could look the same
Right.
and have him do it so that they, you know what, so that they're not.
And then when we start digging into those individual and partnership things and someone shows up at homecoming and reminds us that they won too, that could then be still fixed.
So,
You struck a chord with me when you brought up the digital, because you can put basketball in the basketball gym and run your basketballs teams and individuals during basketball season. You could break that up so many different ways, and you can add to it with no expense to speak of at any time. And I hope we keep adding to them.
well, you know, and I think we will. I mean,
But we will.
We have been-
I have no doubt.
we've been blessed with some high performing.
And then you can share that out where people can get online and
Mhm.
see it, look it up,
That's a good point as well.
easily shareable.
Do you know, if, I mean, taking that idea, if we had a digital display, in the gym for the individuals and the partners, I think that's what you called it.
Mhm.
Does that mean 2?
That's two. Mhm.
So anything 3 and up, you would call a team?
Well, I don't wanna do definitions. I just wanna say, to me, individuals and partners are separate than team championship.
Like a county.
Digital, you could run them all.
Mackenzie, you equivocated.
The county won last year, and I think there's 5 of them on the team.
So a team is a
Is that-
few or more.
I mean,
That's the definition of small group. You're more.
Okay, so
I can't think of any 3-person
No,
team. Amazing.
from, let me, on this one. And whatever, if we decide to go with Reddit, So then one of the questions, one of the decision points is how are you going to put them on there? In what order? And so with that idea of what if we miss somebody, or as we add, what makes sense?
Mhm.
And so I was thinking of a nice way to do it would be start with the oldest ones and start in the middle and start working out. So that we start old and we work out. If you want to start, and so that as we add new ones, we're adding on the outside edges as time goes by. And rather than starting in the top left corner and taking the oldest one and then discover 3 years down the road, oh no, there was a state championship in 1947 and
That's wrong, I think that.
As long as he's legal.
which
With digital, that's all easily.
exactly the digital
You
display.
break it up by
would-
years.
Correct, it would, because you could easily fix the problem.
You can add.
But
I like the big 32, it's me personally, just, I think that'll solve the problem for a long time. Oh, maybe not, but. We just got a problem that most places don't have.
we do,
The Texas would be there. Like we would have already purchased that and it's just waiting to be filled, right?
oh,
So,
Medallion.
the pedestal?
yes,
Uh-huh.
okay. Cause I am thinking.
Wait, she's talking about the medallions.
Medallion.
Yeah, the medallion.
Take
Or would we
medallion.
wait and
So would it already be full of medallions, but some of them would be blank?
Well, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea to have blank medallions. I mean, I think it's better to have some blank space there. That's one of the reasons I was thinking about doing it the way I was doing it, is you can grow from the middle outward in some coherent, consistent way. And if you're gonna have blank spaces, then they're gonna be here,
Mhm.
if I'm making sense.
Mhm.
And so as you gain one, and you gain another one, you gain another one, you gain another one. So that there's some sort of uniformity about the display as you go. And then if you have to add wings, then you got that problem.
Well, there any way we can make that say digital, but have digital medallions?
I don't know about that.
That's
Granite, but digital medallion.
And I haven't had this conversation with Gregor. I might, because I don't think we're gonna decide tonight, but maybe I need to have a conversation with him. Can we put a digital display right in the middle of that wall? So that we have teams on medallions. And we're running those individuals and partners
On the screen.
on the screen right in the middle.
You have a little button, like you test the speakers at the store, you know, you push the button and it puts all the stuff on the screen in the middle for that state championship.
Science Spectrum does that.
Yeah, press the button, it tells you about it.
So, my thinking is we've triggered more things. I had a conversation with Lacey and Tanya today in the hall about this process and as
Repeating it.
as painful as it is, I think it's an important process to have. It's because everybody gets to have voice. Clearly someone's been talking to you all. We're good. We need to hear what people think. And in my experience, I mean, at the end of the day, whatever we decide to do, someone's not going to be pleased with it. But in my experience, people are much more willing to live with decisions they don't care that much for if they feel like they had a voice in that process. And so it's painful, it's slow, makes me want to commit seppuku.
I think we beat that one.
Yes, we have,
Move
and
on.
Lone Star Lone Star governance
some
will
homework.
not be okay with that.
Next one will be learning
That's why,
authorization.
that's why I had it on there as a discussion item, by the way.
Not an action.
Discussion designation of Kayla Wrightsville as career and technology instructor at JGISD District of Innovation Plan for Health Science.
Yeah, I was gonna have that on there as an action item, and what law allows us to do with those District of Innovation plans is if we have someone with particular vocational qualifications, they can teach for us on a local teaching certificate. So I went back and read through the District of Innovation plan, and it doesn't say the board will vote to do this. It says the superintendent, the principal will recommend to the superintendent that we hire this person. The superintendent will issue the local teaching certificate and then inform the board what happened. And so that's what's going to happen. And so whatever students that we have here that are going to be in that health science technology pathway, I think that one's running through Aspermont. I think we can teach the year 1, or we can even teach the year 2 courses here. It's when that 4th year, those students have to do the practical work, and they'll have to go to Aspermont and work in the hospital for that. But Kayla can teach those classes. And so what we'll do, basically, we're going to name her as an adjunct for all intents and purposes to teach the class for those students here that we have that may be interested in that pathway.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move to your second favorite discussion on master schedule and assignments.
Yeah, to the point I just made with you all, the conversations that I've had with coaches and God has a wicked sense of humor. Who would have thought that Justin and Tony were going to leave? I wouldn't have dreamed it in 100 years. But as I told Justin, when I left here in 2002, I never dreamed in 100 years I was going to leave Jayden. I mean, and what a blessed journey it's been since. And I never dreamed I'd be back.
You never really left.
Well, just
Not exactly.
have y'all seen? If I've told you this, I apologize. You see sometimes those people walking their dogs on those extendable leashes, and so they're walking down this park or something, and this dog is this. I think that's what Mo and I have been doing for 49 years. She's been just walking true and steady along, and I've been on this leash, and it always comes back to her. You know, she knows where we're going. Keep moving down the path. But the master schedule is now set, and as I mentioned to you in my board report, to quote the comedian Nate Bargatze, it's impossible to do a master schedule that usually even half the people like, but it's one that I think it was focused on the things that I wanted it to focus on, which is let's take care of the instructional needs first, and then we'll build the other stuff around that. And I'm thankful that Jamie and Darla were willing and able to spend extra time. I mean, I won't call names. When I was the principal here, and then also worked in those big schools in Austin, there were some people thought you could build the master schedule in April or May and be done with it. No. And one year in particular, in Pflugerville, our demographer missed by 500 students. So we had 500 students on day 1 that we were not expecting. So we were hiring 10 new teachers in September and launching a brand new master schedule on October the 1st. And you talk about a public relations nightmare. But my point though, I mean, the master schedule, I mean, usually when you get a couple of weeks in, you know, oh yeah, okay, we think it's, so that's where we are. Too much talking. Sorry. I was gonna try to finish by 8 o'clock tonight. It's not gonna happen.
Next, our move to effective and efficient learning and operations action items, consent items, minutes from the June 25th, 26th board meeting, the Department of School Fund review request, financial reports and payments of bills, certification of compliance, Senate Bill 12 requirements of 2627, 2627 student handbook, and the 2627 employee handbook.
This, again, anytime you all want to pull one of these out and talk about them individually, we can. I do want to make a comment about that certification of compliance on Senate Bill 12. As my lovely bride, Mackenzie's heard this all of her life. Mo is fond of saying, you know, if one person has issues, there's a little trouble. And if another person has issues, there's a little trouble. And if those two people with issues get to going at each other, then you got a lot of trouble. And so this is a lot of trouble over diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the legislature back in the spring decided we're not having it in any form or fashion in Texas public schools. And so rather than just saying we're not going to have it in Texas public schools, they're demanding now that the superintendent search our policies and scrub policies and make sure we don't have any policies or any people that are promoting diversity, equity, inclusion, and that we say we're going to punish those that try to, that we won't hire anybody that does, we won't use a contractor that does, that I have to send them this in physical form and post it on our website. You have to vote on it. And we'll do it again next year, and the next year, and the next year.
Let them just step up and do their job, say.
Not doing it.
You know, and how, really, I mean, how many schools in Texas do you think this is a problem in? You know, I mean, rather than,
Not West Texas.
you know, well, but anyway, that's why that's there. That's why it's there. On both handbooks, student handbook and employee handbook, Texas Association of School Boards sends to us every year, every summer, a model school handbook, which looks like the lawyers got in a room together and decided, okay, it's a contest to see how many words we can put in this thing. And I tell Jamie on the student handbook, see how much redundancy you can take out, and so that reflects what we do. And it's readable. And I think the thing was still 70 pages long, but, and if you have, you're not going to read it. You're not, I don't think.
Flip through it.
You know,
I scrolled through the highlighted parts. That's what I did. I did look at the highlights.
and then I took great liberties with the employee handbook, and I'm sure I'm not going to show that to Backus because I know he would go, no. But it says what I think it should say is be honest, be fair, treat the kids well, treat each other well. If you don't, we're gonna have problems. So there, consent items.
We just finished updating our employee handbook at Caprock.
Do what?
We just finished updating our employee handbook at Caprock.
And does it look like the lawyers got hold of it?
Well, one did. We scrubbed some of that, but
Moving 5 pages to.
the biggest deal was, this time was personal appearance. Cover your tattoos, no face piercings.
Dang.
Some of those deals is gonna make some people sore.
Yeah.
Of course. Of course.
You're a professional, you're working for us, representing us, you go in people's homes.
So we'll make a motion to approve the consent items.
Hey,
Move.
you need to cover that tattoo up.
So
AJ makes a motion,
I'll second it.
7 seconds, all in favor?
Thank you all.
Next will be action item, delegate wealth equalization intent contractual authority to the superintendent to obligate the school district under Texas Education Code TC 11.1511C4. Solely for the purpose of obligating the district under TEC 48275 and TEC chapter 49. Subchapters A and D and the rules adopted by the Commissioner of Education and is authorized in the TEC 49.006. This includes approval of the agreement of purchase of attendance credit or the agreement for the purchase of attendance credit netting chapter 48 funding.
Do you have any idea how long it took me to write that?
Probably.
Speaking of
Just long for
lawyers.
me to read
Speaking of lawyers, would you and Cody sign those minutes, by the way, that you just approved?
Can you say it in English?
So you all do this every year. You do this every year. We're a property wealthy school district. We have to give money away by recapture. they make us dance this dance every year and say, the superintendent is the person that's gonna go into the TEA website and say, of these 5 options, we're gonna pick the one. And we have the option of chopping off part of our school district and giving it to Spur if we wanna do that. And we have the option, there's several options that we have, the easiest, cleanest, and the one that serves us the best over time is to say, we'll pay recapture. And that's all that you just read means you're giving me the authority to click on the box that says we're gonna pay recapture.
So we'll need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
You make some motion. Roy seconds, all in favor? You have the authority now.
Click the right box.
I'll do that tomorrow.
I'll give her.
Next will be action item, consider bids and select provider for vehicle fuel for 26, 27.
Yeah, we have to do this it's basically it's 3 different things, but those, we got 3 bids for those deal and they're still bids. So I don't know if those providers bid on all 3 kinds of fuel or if they bid on one kind of fuel. You'll just have to tear into that. While you're doing that, I'm gonna go to this through.
And we've been using legacy fuel, right?
We've been using it.
Have we been happy with them?
They support our kids. They do a lot with Booster Club. I know that.
They keep the gas pumps in, so.
Not fast. but,
Yeah.
You gotta know the trick. You gotta
I'm
know
not-
fast.
A few times it goes slow. You have to take it out and shake that
Well, no.
flow and then put it back in.
Yes, he lays it on the ground, turns it on, and then it flows. That's the engineer, and then just.
Or if you stand there 5 minutes, we give time.
Everybody-
They could fix
Everybody
it.
has
They
already-
could clean it.
The guy was there yesterday working on stuff. I started pulling up there and tell him, hey, just so you know.
You can't even get out pick up that standing in diesel.
Yeah.
Did it not stop? I guess it looked like.
It just leaked and leaked and leaked. It's made a big mess. Like I said, I'll clean it up a little bit. It's their business.
Just glad there's few.
This is just
Complain too much.
This one's too. So it looks like Legacy is the only one that did gas and diesel, and then these 3 did propane. Well, I've got B and J. And it. Like, 24. Says.
So they want before that's just propane. Yeah,
Who's a propane with right now?
Well,
so I think everything's a legacy.
You know somebody that can't write,
I think everything. Legacy, right?
what that means on that 3rd page.
3rd page.
You don't write with your eyes,
But I can read what I write. And a lot of people can't read it, so she knew who to hand it to.
Propane grid cost per gallon.
Total cost.
Okay, $1.26 on this one, so that must have
Per
been what that
gallon.
meant, that one must have meant
That's for
$1.20
being-
something.
Then you.
B&M's.
You know, so $1,
$1.20.
Not fishes, I mean, either.
$1.26.
Propane.
30 cents above cost, prices change
Do you
daily.
understand
So
that?
today's cost is 96 cents, plus 30 cents.
Their markup is 25 cents. But it's.
That's a
Well,
plus
they get
sign.
116.
So we'll just, to keep it simple, we'll say okay.
Negative.
So do you think,
Are you-
you think they meant 124,
I'm good.
120, whatever that
So
says?
put on the sheet,
24, ain't it?
Their markup.
show me the comparison.
I mean, that says what today's cost is. That doesn't really
That's what
say
we
what-
went off of on these, is what their markup was on today's
It's
cost.
lay-in cost plus 27 cents is
27,
what
okay.
the LIC stands for.
And this.
And I've never
other cost
understood
is 30.
exactly what, like,
Could be an M.
I guess that's just what it costs to get it there.
And you said that one was plus what?
Plus
How could
27
any
cents.
business?
And
on
what
this
was
planet
Legacy's plus?
Predict what they're gonna charge us for fuel
I don't know.
a month from now.
No, was it 24, 127, I can't remember.
Well, we used to get bids on that.
Go with
Yeah.
24, right, got it there.
we went to the market, how much you gonna mark up?
So it looks like Legacy's gonna mark it up the least.
Right, right.
So everybody's kind of, are they doing all three, doing a little transparent?
So
Right.
only Legacy did
Bill
gas
Williams.
and diesel.
Freight factor is markup.
I don't know how you could do it other than
That's the
say,
cheapest legacy.
Yeah,
Legacy.
They only did gas and diesel, they're only ones.
One of the only ones that gave us a bid, right?
Or do we?
Gas and
They're the cheapest on propane and they're the.
Oh, they're
only
cheapest
ones
on propane
that-
too.
And they're the only ones that put
So then
gas and
it's-
diesel in.
Do they give us a discount if we do all three of them?
Yeah, just fill it out, just.
So what
Or
did
At least we can leave this for regular.
what did they have it on?
327 is
Bundle it.
gas. Here's the breakdown.
So that's
Big-
a 15 markup.
And then diesel is $4.46.
And that's a 16 markup. Okay.
Where's that?
And this was being NJ.
Well, it looked like Legacy just outbid everybody, so I think,
We don't have any reason to be unhappy
Well-
with them.
I think we'll need to bid on. Like that, so we bid on them all together, do we gotta do the gas?
I think you're gonna need to address it, each item in a time.
Well, Legacy only did gas and diesel, so that's,
Those
They're the
are-
only-
we'll need a motion to approve to accept their bids. Just for gas and
So we need a
diesel.
motion for the
Legacy.
gas first, is that
Yeah.
what's first on the
Yeah.
list? Okay, I'll make a motion, we choose Legacy for the gas.
I'll second it.
All in favor? And then we'll need a motion for the
They are.
the diesel rate.
Get them out of.
It's called Legacy Fuels, right?
Yes,
So this was written in here as just one action item, so.
Oh, it is.
for all of them.
Can I just put all three? Can we do all three or no?
I'll amend my motion if I need to cover all three, if that's the way the motion.
So the action's written as consider bids and select provider for vehicle fuel. Okay,
Okay,
so that could be gas and diesel, yeah?
No, well,
No, okay.
Well, one of them's
Diesel
vehicle
fuel,
fuel and then
separate.
diesel and then propane. So there is three different action items.
so mine should.
Oh, it is written. Okay, so now we're on diesel.
That vehicle fuel, put the 327 Legacy.
This is
Yeah, the markup is really what you,
diesel. They're at a 0.16 markup.
Board runs up and down all the time.
And we'll need a motion to approve the Legacy for the diesel.
Oh,
Andy
Make a
makes a
motion.
motion.
approve the diesel.
I'll second.
Kenzie seconds, all in favor? And then we will move to the propane, which B&N Supply was $1.26 at 30 cents markup. B&J was $1.24 with a 27-cent markup. And Legacy Fuels, the propane was a 25-cent markup at $1.16. So, I mean, Legacy's, Roy makes a motion to accept that. Andy seconds, all in favor?
Give me 1 second. You wanted to edit this and click mark.
Kelsey is watching you type that in. And she's gonna ship the letters first thing in the morning.
Please.
What was the markup on gas from Legacy? 0.15, okay.
apologize, y'all, I'm gonna have to slip out.
BJ, you gotta leave.
I do, yes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I'm gonna have to slip out.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Sorry
BJ.
about that, y'all.
See you.
No, it's my fault. I talked too much.
No.
There's no wrong, is that good? Thank you.
You ain't coming.
Yeah.
Thanks, BJ.
Okay.
Okay. Next, we will. Action item, consider the 2025-26 budget amendments as presented by administration.
Take no action on that because we don't have any for you right now.
Well, these, You can't talk about that one then.
Yep.
Next, we will move to discussion item, the 26-27 budget workshop.
So on the screen, behind you, this was in your board packet, by the way. You've seen this before. Lacey shared with me last year, which is a year by year, beginning with 2015. What was the money you brought in, the money you sent out, and what the final tally was, and the tax rate and the tax value. It's a very nice thumbnail version. So in 16-17, the concluding budget, you spent $5.1 million. In 17-18, the concluding budget, you spent almost $4.6 million. You can see as time went by, and what we care about now is the budget we're closing up, which we thought we were going to end up, we budgeted to be $688,000 in the hole. As of this moment, it doesn't look like we're going to be anywhere near that. These are the numbers as they stand right now. And Lacey, if I say something wrong, you have my permission to say, wait, whoa, stop. But we still have to pay our bills for the month of August. We still have to pay payroll for the month of August, and we still have to pay water. Well, however that shakes down, it's not going to be $688,000 ugly, which is a good thing. I mean, I wish I could say it was due to our stellar stewardship, which I mean, I do think we practice good stewardship. We've been greatly blessed by the fact that that permanent school fund has been so healthy, and it generated interest that we can use toward our general budget. You want to add something to that, Lacey?
Well, that is where the additional money is coming from, that county available interest.
Yep.
You know, we budgeted 750,000 of county available, and we're gonna get about 1.3.
Makes a lot of
The
difference.
water payment is a little less than we had budgeted. Budgeted 656,000, I think, and it's what, 558 or something, so saving a little there, because if you're looking at the budget on a day-to-day, we're pretty well spending what all we budgeted for last year, which included the 688 in the red.
Right.
So the additional revenue from that county available, the lower water payment are all what is
Making the difference.
there.
Yep. Okay, then the next document. And by the way, we have to have 2 meetings in August, August the 17th, and then in which it's box checking stuff, in which we have to present the budget, we have to post the budget, and we say we're gonna, in the second August meeting, we're gonna adopt the budget, so to give our stakeholders opportunity to see what we're doing. It's about transparency and opportunity for them to say what they want to say. But so Lacey has put together the proposed budget looking forward now. We were looking backwards at the year we're closing. As we look forward, she and I are not through thumb wrestling yet over the items, all the line by line items. But right now, it looks like we're going to be proposing to you a deficit budget again, but only 4/7 of as big a hole as we thought we were going to dig this year. And looking at it on a function by function basis, you can see what it looks like. Our tax rate is just stuck. Those of you, Roy, that used to serve on the board, I don't know, Andy, if you've been on long enough where y'all actually had to wrestle with tax rate. Pretty much the state just tells us what our tax rate is now. We're stuck on that, which is a good thing. We don't have to makes the decision. If you don't have a decision, it's easy to make. Right? And But these are the line by line function anticipated things. We'll keep looking at that over the next couple of weeks to see if there's something we want to polish and finesse a little bit. But bottom line is you can expect for us to propose to you in a couple of weeks that we're going to have a deficit budget. And bottom line is you can expect that it'll be a deficit budget, but not nearly as big a deficit budget as we.
Is it a smaller deficit because we've reduced what we're expecting to spend or increased what we're expecting to receive?
Well, the certified value is less
Okay.
next year, so we really have less excess revenue next year. The water payment drops significantly from this year to next year. Proposed next year, 159,000 is the water payment to the state right now. And this year it's 558,000.
Wow.
So,
So I have some connection to the school district since 1989. Robin Hood has been in effect since 1992. You've been working at the district how many years?
it's 2003.
Do you have any recollection of the water payment being as low as $159,000?
No,
No. I mean, but the property values have plummeted and the laws have changed so that, as Johnny Tubb puts it, they built a system that's revenue neutral. I mean, when we poke in, rather than $350 million of property value, which is what we think. I mean, that's what Cindy said it's gonna be. But if we pretend that the data center goes in immediately and it's all $4 billion worth of property value, our take home pay is not much different. I mean, the water goes up, but they're just not gonna let you keep much more money. Not gonna happen.
On your revenue budget, what number did you put in from the permanent school fund interest?
for next
You talking
year,
about it was a big this time,
I'd have more than 750,000,
closer to $1 million.
yes. Which helped with
Yeah.
this being lower also.
Yep.
Yeah, we felt like 750,000 this year was a little bit low, but you hate to
Over.
go too
Right.
high and
Right.
not get there, but I really never dreamed it'd be as much as it is.
Right.
We used to budget 80,000 for county available,
Wow.
so.
That overshot it maybe a time or two.
Everybody good for that? Budget plans, we'll get in more detail later.
Yeah, our next meeting, you'll get more.
Cody, I think we skipped a discussion item.
That was Daryl Hand.
Yeah, or we're not,
Y'all want to discuss that?
Oh,
I thought we were gonna discuss it.
Oh, did y'all want to discuss that?
Do you want me to put that back on the agenda for the August 17 meeting to discuss it or take action on it? Or you want to play dead on it? I'm open to however you want to run it.
I don't see us being ready to take action on it. I mean, I'm okay if we need to make a discussion or maybe decide closer to time if it should be a discussion item next time.
How about this?
I didn't want him.
that's about a little while, then we'll decide whether to put it on discussion next.
Sure.
meeting or something.
Well, and I mean, as part of that broader conversation, I mean, generally, the way we've been operating from a property acquisition perspective is I've been trying to identify properties that are dilapidated or abandoned and seeing if the owner's willing to sell. And then if they are, then we coordinate with the county to try to get it cleaned up, put a house on it.
And these nearer to the school is, I've been tickled to death to see it happen.
Yeah, and I mean, I think from a stewardship and a community perspective, that's a pretty good approach for us to take. And I mean,
Reason to have a Main Street property and there's a little lot there.
Yeah.
That could be beautified quite a bit.
I mean, to me, Daryl's property, if there's an attractive part of it, and I've been told that there's some drainage issues with that property, but if there's an attractive piece of that, it to me would just be from a long-term investment perspective. I mean, if the number he pitched out there, the total would be $112,000. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I got. That's what I was just.
Which is not a lot of money for 35 acres. And if we just sat on it and sold it off a lot at a time, you know, for some cash, I guess we can do that. I don't know. We can talk about it, we can think about it and decide.
Yeah, we'll discuss it next time when Cody and BJ are.
Yeah.
That's it. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
And we're gonna propose those numbers, 35 acres, 3,200 an acre. He said it has city water, no well, and one power pole.
Yeah.
Next, we'll have discussion item update on technology and transportation bond.
Technology bond is showing up on the screen behind you there.
Can we get another TV right there too? So we don't have to turn around. We got three right here.
Right.
Currently down there at the bottom, our balance is roughly about 604,000. Pretty much all that probably since March, y'all really haven't seen, but it's just been small items up to now. We won't do any more computer purchases for a couple more years. Cause I've got that kind of set up and working, and we used different monies for iPads for this current school year that we're starting. We did use this to buy the cases for the iPads and do some camera repairs and things like that. The bigger item that's coming up after budget rolls over will be a new bell and PA system. Ours is very antiquated and we need to get it up to date. And with that is going to be some additional things of doing a push button alert system that the staff will wear to be able to create, ask for help or declare an actual emergency. And that's going to be probably a lot of that money that's going to get spent. But roughly right now, we're looking at about 180,000 just for that system. But that does get rid of like School Guard, that everybody has an app on their phone that we do that with now. I want something that we're not going to require a staff member to have an app on their phone. And it's quicker to notify them of what's going on and law enforcement. Because when you test that stuff, sometimes you get a message, sometimes you don't.
Yep.
If you have a physical button that's tied to Bluetooth in your building and it doesn't key on Wi-Fi or internet, it is strictly in-house. And I think that's the way we need to go, and that's what we're being recommended to go by a lot of state agencies anyway. So
I know you said we're having to replace, we're doing all security on the doors and replace the numbers. Is that technology bond cover all that too? Renumbering all the doors. I know we did it and you had to tear it off and redoing all that stuff.
No, that's not technology bond, no.
that's more county or
Safety.
safety and security or something like that, where we are having to redo, not related to the technology bond, the gate at the ag building, we have to change it out to get it updated to be on status for our school safety audit that's coming up in October. That gate has to have a crash bar on it for better egress out of that, and has to be able to be locked from the outside when students are out there. That was one thing that was pointed out to us in the walkthrough,
Has to be locked from the outside.
where you can't get into.
It's just like an exterior door, because they have a classroom out there. A person cannot be able to just walk in that gate and into that classroom with those. And we're into that shop area. It's really more about the shop area than it is the classroom.
If the shop doors are open
So the gate can be locked, okay, so the
Yeah.
gates can be locked from the inside, where if they need out, they can run out. Okay,
Right,
I'll make sure
right,
you're not putting
yeah.
lock on the outside of the gate, where they're
Yeah.
stuck in there.
No.
Yeah, it'll have a panic bar. It'll have a panic escape bar like.
That's what I call crash bars,
Yeah.
panic bar.
Yeah.
So they'd still be able to get out, but an intruder couldn't get in, and that's one thing that's pointed out, along with the building numbers. That was another issue that they were pointing out on that, so.
We have a lot of money left in that technology line, I think.
Yep.
Whoever put that together overshot that by about 25 miles.
We'll get a stamp.
Have you looked at the lighting system like Colorado City had at their football field?
Yeah.
Just an observation.
Anyway, so we're trying to, or I'm trying to, make it last so that we can get more purchases for the equipment when we
Right.
come around to it. And the essentials, the camera upgrades and this bell system and PA system upgrade is, I think, critical. That needs to be done before we spend way too much money on having to replace it in the future, so.
Well, yeah, y'all did some of that in theater too, Ralph. The lighting and stuff, that looks a lot better, I think.
A lot of that came out of county permanent
Did it?
too, because it's attached to the building, so we're trying to, with the lighting and the sound in there. Those guys did a very good job.
Mhm.
I was very
Pictures
impressed with
look
that.
so much better now. That graduation pictures look so much better.
Yes. Yep.
Made a huge difference, so.
Thanks, sir. Anybody?
Thanks, Keith. On the transportation bond, I'll report on that. That was a $1.9 million bond that the voters agreed to allow us to use. So far, we've purchased the big Ultraliner activity bus, purchased the 14 passenger shuttle bus, and that now has signage on it, and Andy and them moved it from the sign people in Lubbock yesterday to the real guard people. So I think it'll be on site next week, ready to roll.
Just in case we hit horses again.
Correct. And we bought 2 Suburbans and 1 Traverse so far, and we burned through almost half, about $615,000 of that money so far. The original plan was to replace vehicles over the 3 years stretch of that 1.9 million. So we'll keep doing that, parts and pieces. You saw in my board report that I've asked Jamie and Kelsey to see if they could come up with a bus route plan that would not require us to use 2 big yellow buses. We got 1 big yellow bus that stays sick as often as it stays well. And I'd really like to offload that thing. And also, if we can get by without using the larger buses, we don't have to have CDL drivers too, which is always a problem. More of a problem now than ever. That's it on technology. I mean, on transportation, sir.
Thank you, sir. Next will be a discussion on new housing property acquisition, tennis netting, softball, baseball complex auditorium, and Smith House.
Yeah, new housing. I think Joe Madewell and Mike Heineman were here last week, and you saw my report on having to blast out the garage floor, which was a reversal on Mike's part. But the county's already started helping us on that, and the county's brought a load of fill in that Weaver property. So I think we'll see houses up here on those properties, at least 1 in August, 1 in September, or maybe 2 in August, I think. And that'll be a conversation that we'll have coming up in the next meeting or 2 about how you want to deal with that. So I'll tell you how I want to deal with that, and then y'all can tell me if you agree with me or not. And then you saw that Frank Garcia, that one of the siblings, is beginning to get cold feet. So we'll see if that happens. The tennis netting has been replaced now, so maybe the wind will not take the thing down. We think we have a solution there. Softball, baseball complex is moving along. I have a 10 a.m. meeting tomorrow with the construction team on site. A couple of recent developments on that. was, I think I told you they were calling this Vegas Gold. And I said, no, that's not Vegas Gold. And so, and they're revamping and they're coming up with the Vegas Gold. It looks like the bird beak on the football field. I was very aware of the color problem that happened on the football field and the cost associated with it and the political problems that occurred on the gym floor. And so, and then Drew sent me schematics of the fields, the baseball and the softball field last week and said, no, take a look at these and tell us if you approve. And I took a look at them. This is the softball field, by the way. And I was looking at them, but the baseball field had this logo on there. And I said, no. The double J goes on the baseball field, and the Lady J symbol goes on the softball. And so he sent me the correction to that today. Auditorium, that the painting is going to occur on that start this week. Mark Burns from West Texas Coatings was here again today. And so the curtains have been removed. The walls are brick. They don't have windows, they're brick. And so it's going to be a little lighter color than the color that's in there. And I do not plan to put those curtains back up. Once we get the painting done and we fire up the sound and see the acoustics, if we can leave it alone, we will. If we have to put some kind of sound buffers in there, then we'll do something a little more contemporary looking than those brown curtains. And then the house that Kim Ann Smith in is, we keep spending money on that, and I think I'm getting ready to quit spending money on that. I think it's turning into a kind of a money pit. I'm leaning toward, as we add new houses, offloading that one. As we add new houses and gain new property, offloading that one pretty first up.
Just sell the house and build there.
Well, somebody mentioned the possibility of auctioning that, keeping the lot and letting somebody move it off. I hadn't thought about that. I had been thinking in terms of just selling it, house and property together, but maybe the better approach is to try to auction it and let it's a pier and beam house and see if somebody wants to move it off.
But where is it? Which one are we referring to?
It's the one that Lacey and Billy lived in right there across from the church. On the backside, the east of the church.
Sure I was on the right page.
Or land and convenience land.
And I think that would touch everything.
I think that's pretty much it. I guess you haven't heard, the Setons aren't budging on that, they still want right here.
Yeah, Tim, they hadn't said another word. I mean, the last thing he said is 58,000. And I didn't want to talk anymore about that.
Okay.
But that just,
Understood.
that, well, it seemed a little rich to me, but I think from what I've heard, it came down from the previous ask, but. And I mentioned too on that property thing, and I put this in the board report, Danny Barrett from Purdue, Brandonfield, and Mott, Collins, and Santa Claus. Spent some time with me last week, and they think they have a way for us to partner with the county and the city to acquire some properties that are in arrears on taxes 5 years plus in a very expedited manner. So on my calendar right now is to try to pull together the judge and the mayor and me and Danny to hear the spiel all at one time and see if that's what we want to do. According to him, we could get properties within 90 days. But then you pay political. I mean, that's a political issue too when you start going down that path. I'm done. too late, I'm done.
Anybody have anything else? Anybody need to go to closed session? All right, we will need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Peter makes a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Stephanie seconds, all in favor?
Well, thank you, Keith. You all saw that, Region 17 is offering board training on August the 6th.
6 to 9.
Yeah,